1 second. All right, cool. All right. Can everyone hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up for the folks that have their video on if you can hear me okay. Thumbs up. Okay, perfect. All right. Cool deal. Well, thank you for joining us yet again here at Kingdom Connect. Super excited today, especially since I'll be presenting the information, which is a change of pace, compared to the last presentations that we've had. So super excited about that. So just a reminder, during the presentation, if you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or raise your hand. So you can raise your hand by clicking the reactions button and then clicking the raise hand icon. And you can do that at any point throughout the presentation. So I want to make this as interactive as possible. My plan is to go through just a short presentation, um, and then I'll get into some actual examples so that you can see like how generative AI actually works. All right, so the first thing I want to start with is just kind of level setting the field here because I know we have different a wide variety of different, I would say, experiences with AI in the group here. So, actually, if you don't mind, for those of you that are familiar with any form of AI, whether it's generative AI or just anything that you use like on a daily or weekly basis, put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat if you use AI on a daily basis. Okay, all right. I see a few ones. Okay. And if you don't use AI, let's say on a daily or a weekly basis, give me a two. Put a two in the chat. All right. I see quite a few ones. Any twos? This is a safe space. Any twos? Okay. All right. Well, I see a few people giving ones and twos. So a good mixture. All right, cool deal. So that's good. That's good. That's what I expected. So the first thing that I wanted to touch on, just to level set everyone, is like what is AI? What exactly is AI? So in a very basic and simple definition, AI is simply it's artificial intelligence, and it refers to the capability of compute systems to perform tasks typically associated with human intelligence, such as learning, reasoning, problem solving, perception, and decision making. So, in a nutshell, that's AI. More specifically, what we'll be talking about today is generative AI. So, that's just a branch of AI, and there's many different components to artificial intelligence. But generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence that uses machine learning models to create new content such as text, images, music, or code based on patterns learned from existing data. So basically, you have these large, they call them large language models, LLMs, that they simply have, and you're able to, well, AI is able to form intelligent or make intelligent decisions based on certain patterns in large sets of data. So that's essentially what generative AI is. And some of the popular tools that people are familiar with using, ChatGPT is probably the most popular. That's what we'll be using today in the example. You also have Claude, you have Gemini, Mid Journey, and so many other tools that you can use. But again, today the focus will be on ChatGPT, and I may actually pull up Gemini as well, just so that you can see the differences and in the responses that we may get depending on the tool. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. And just a few generative AI use cases. So you can use it for strategy, content creation, automation, which is super huge, right? You can automate a lot of the busy work that you do on a daily basis, marketing, education, etc. So there's a lot of different use cases that you can use for AI that we will touch on later in the presentation. All right. The reason this is important is because the digital shift is here, right? It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. And to be frank, if you do not know how to use AI, you will be left behind. Like you literally will be stuck in the past and not able to, let's say, make a decent living for yourself. The further we get into this new age, so it's very important that you learn these skill sets and you're able to interact with AI because it's touching every area of our lives. So, of course, at work, I'm sure many of you can attest to the fact that AI has, in some form, probably shifted how you perform your daily tasks. If it hasn't already, then it will eventually. How you're learning, I know for me for sure. Like I use AI a lot to learn different things, and I'll actually teach you some methods on how you can leverage AI to learn certain skill sets to help you stand out. It's definitely helping when it comes to creating content and just creating anything in general, right? It's able to allow us to create things faster and much more efficient, earning money. So there's so many different ways that you can earn money using AI. So that's definitely a huge portion. And as I mentioned, like moving forward, and I have it on a later slide as well, AI will just be embedded and expected of you in your job, right? No matter where you are, in your job, like it will be expected of you for sure. So that is coming, and that's something that we can't and won't stop unless the Lord comes back before then, which I pray he does. But if we're still here and if we're not raptured up out of here, then for sure we need to equip ourselves accordingly. And then also communication. So it's definitely shaping how we communicate in all areas, whether it's verbal communication, written communication, just all across the board is changing the way that we communicate with people and interact with, computer devices, etc. And then I have a stat down here that says 85% of jobs in 2030 will require some sort of digital skills. So that's 85% of all jobs in 2030. So that's not that far away. Will require digital skills, right? You will be required to have some type of digital skill set. So whether it's just a basic level understanding of AI or if you actually have to interact with AI on a daily basis, but you will have to at least understand the concept of AI and how to at least interact with it on a very basic level. So it's very important that we equip ourselves for sure. All right. So why can't Christians or why shouldn't Christians afford to fall behind, especially during this AI race during this time and age? So for one, we are leaders, so we shouldn't want to fall behind, right? I think AI has presented us with a very unique point in time where we're really just scratching the surface on what AI can do. So AI has been around for a long time, but as far as like the actual accessibility and the generative AI, like really we're just scratching the surface. So it's very important that we lean into it early on. Like we need to become early adopters of this technology and not only early adopters, but become masters of the technology and be able to use it, effectively across the board, whether it be in ministry, in business, in your job, school, whatever the case may be, right? We need to lead in these areas, and that's very important. The next thing, we need to, as I already touched on, we need to master this tool, right? Master the tools that we have available to us and not fear them. So I know just by speaking to a lot of Christians, a lot of people fear AI. Right? A lot of people fear AI. They have a very negative view on AI, and AI does it has pros and cons. It's a tool. Any tool has pros and cons, right? And we'll touch on that. But at the end of the day, AI is simply a tool that we are able to leverage. So if it's there for us to leverage, we should use that for the greater good, right? And I have a scripture here from Proverbs. It says, "Do you see a man skillfully in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before obscure men." So, I mean, to me, that's saying like, hey, like these skill sets that we're able to have and that we're able to craft, like they're going to put us in front of like kings and people that have persuasive power, right? People that have decision making power. So let's learn to lean into these skills and equip ourselves so that we can put ourselves and most importantly put the kingdom in a great position to reach as many people as possible. Like this is really a great opportunity for the church to really lean in to AI tools to reach the masses, right? Like we can touch people across the world because of us being able to leverage AI. So it's important that we do so. And then the last thing here on this slide is it's essential, right? It's not at this point. It's you can consider it optional right now, but really you should start learning this like immediately because like I said, by 2030, 85% of the jobs will require some type of digital skill set, which will require like an AI basic understanding or at least being able to interact with AI. So at this point, I would consider it essential for sure and not optional. Some people may disagree with that, but I really feel that if you don't start equipping yourself, you will be stuck in the past, and you don't want to find yourself in that position because as I said before, like this is a huge, huge opportunity for us to kind of lead the way and get in front of the curve here. So we should do so while we have the opportunity. All right, so I know a lot of people fear that AI will take their jobs, and that's true for some. Like just being real about it. Like there's a lot of automation, a lot of robots that are being built, just a lot of things in general when it comes to AI that is being built to replace people, right? But the other side of that is it's also creating a lot more opportunities as well. So while we're losing certain jobs, right, we're also gaining a lot of jobs and opportunities because of AI. So don't think of it as like, hey, I'm not going to be able to do what I've always done before in the past. Like, start thinking about how you can leverage AI to do your job more efficiently, right? Because more than likely, AI may not replace your job, but a person that knows how to use AI will replace you, right? Because those are the people that the companies will be looking for, right, in the near future and even now, because they want people that already have this digital mindset and that's able to communicate and interact with AI on a frequent basis. So take this as a warning and just as a motivational, I would say, war cry to say like, hey, I really should start being serious about learning more about AI and equipping myself so that I don't find myself in a bad situation. Especially if if you're responsible for a family and like they're relying on you, like you are obligated to learn this stuff so that you don't become obsolete in the workforce. So definitely take advantage for sure. All right. Okay, so pros and cons of generative AI. I'll start with the pros. So of course, as I mentioned, is it really allows you to become a lot more productive. So you're able to complete tasks a lot quicker and more efficient. A creative spark. So when it comes to just creativity, content creation, etc., like it enhances your brainstorming ability because of the interaction with AI. So it's just able to provide another level of creativity that we've never seen before. A time saver for sure. So anything that you do on a daily basis that's repetitive, you may be able to automate that task, right? You may be able to use AI to save you time so that you can focus on doing things that's much more, I would say, beneficial for your day to day living activities. So, definitely a time saver. And then small team advantage. Now, this is something that I love because being an entrepreneur, like AI has allowed me to compete with a lot of the big dogs because I'm able to leverage AI to be more efficient and to really like produce things that really it would take a lot of other employees to do if we were doing it manually. So AI has positioned a lot of entrepreneurs and small businesses to do a lot more with a lot less. So that's definitely a pro. Now, some of the cons with AI. So as I mentioned, AI is a tool, and any tool will have pros and cons, right? That's just a part of the nature, right, of anything. The biggest thing, well, one of the biggest things is hallucinations. So you'll see that when we start using or when you start using generative AI, you can't always take it at face value because it will give you a very persuasive argument, but it could just be a bunch of junk, right? It could be false information. So it's very important that you are validating the information, especially if you're using it for research and that you're just, doing fact checks against the data and the information that it's providing you. So that's something that you really want to be on the lookout for. So don't take it as the gospel, right? You need to validate the information that is generating on your behalf. So make sure you're doing that. It's missing human discernment. So at this point in time, of course, like I mean, it's not at that level and never will be, in my opinion, right? I mean, now don't get me wrong, it will be able to do some human-like things, but when it comes to discernment, it'll never be able to do that. So just keep that in mind, right? And that's why prompting really matters, and I'll go through that during our examples. Bias issues. So this is something that's very, very, very important here. So it can produce unethical responses. So you have to remember that these models and these tools are being created by humans, right? And I can speak from an African American perspective. If we aren't in the room and involved in the creation of these tools, then we're not at the table, right? Seeing the information that's being put into these models. So they may feed these models some biased information or some information that may not be as beneficial for us. So that's why it's important that we have thought leaders in this area and that we have people at the table that's advocating on our behalf so that we can try to reduce this. But this is a real thing, right? This has been around for a long time. It's not just AI, just programs in general, right? When you don't have people that look like you programming and thinking the way that you do, then you will run into this situation, right? That's just the nature of the beast. So very important to keep that in mind as well. And then security concerns. So I plan to do its own presentation on security concerns because this is something that is very, very important. And I've seen a lot of people get scammed out of money, out of information, just a lot of different things. And it's becoming a lot more prevalent. I would say, especially because the scams are becoming a lot more complex. So it's harder to pick up on these scams because of AI, right? So just like how we can use AI to produce good content and to produce just different things that will benefit, let's say, ministry and the kingdom of God, hackers and people that want to use it for evil, they also have that same opportunity. So we need to keep that in mind while we're navigating here on the internet and just in general, because like I said, man, these scams are becoming a lot more complex and it's really hard to spot. So that's why I want to really take my time on that and have its own presentation so that we can just break down some real life examples, because I've been sent some like emails that ended up being scams. But like, had you not, if you don't have an eye for that, like it would have been really easy to, give them information or to do whatever action they were requesting. So it's important that we just keep that in mind as we navigate these days. So yes, definitely keep security in mind. All right. So before I get into this, will be the last slide before I get into some live examples on how to use generative AI. I would say more effectively, because I know a lot of people use it, but they may not be using it effectively, and I'll show you the difference. But how can Christians use AI for good, right? So we can use it for strategic outreach, right? So we can build mission, focus plans. So just anything that's impacting people in general, like we can use AI to build a strategic plan on how we can effectively, reach whether it's a certain demographic of people, or how we can reach a certain age group, or whatever the case may be, right? We can use AI to be more strategic with our outreach. Powerful content. So that goes without saying, right? Generative AI is a powerful tool for content creation. Community action. So, we can easily translate visions into plans, which is something that is very beneficial when it comes to generative AI. And then just everyday life productivity. So, few examples here: resume writing, which I'll go through an example of that, business ideas, meal prepping. And I'll also add, just like on my job, one thing that I use like on a daily basis. So I have a lot of meetings, and prior to my company introducing Microsoft Copilot, I would have to manually take a lot of notes. But now, with Microsoft Copilot, we simply record the meeting, and Copilot will compile and generate the notes and the action items that come from the meeting, so that now all I have to do is focus on the actual meeting instead of trying to multitask and, asking people to repeat themselves. Like, it's just a more efficient environment. And now I just have the task of validating if the information aligns with the actual context of the meeting. So it's allowed me to become a lot more efficient as well on my job. So that's just one example. So what I'm going to do now, because I really want to spend majority of the time going through examples and answering questions, so that we can maybe even go through a few tailored examples for things that you guys may have in mind. So I'm going to switch over to ChatGPT. One second. Uh, And before I do that, does anyone have any questions at the moment, or anything that you want me to cover as I go through these live examples? Any questions thus far? Sure. All right, hold on one second. Let me go to my chat. Okay, I'm not seeing anything, and I don't see any hands raised. Oh, hold on, wait. I see a question. Okay. All right. That is my. Okay. Yep. Go ahead, babe. That's my
It,
wife with her hand
I was
raised. Uh
I
huh.
was just wondering, so when it said you can use it to create like learning materials, so say if you do that, is there a chance that it would create the same learning material for someone else, or is it like different each time?
That's a great question. So, AI, the way they built these generative AI solutions, it will never give you the same exact answer or output, each time you prompt it to ask something. So it won't give you the same output as someone else. However, it can be very similar, right? That's where prompting comes into play. And honestly, like, the more you massage the prompting and the information that you're feeding the AI, the less of a chance you have of having similar information to someone else. So that's why that's important. But as far as like having the exact output, that won't happen. But good question. Hopefully that answered your question. All right. I see another question in the chat. I'm always curious about the possibility of AI replacing healthcare workers. Yeah, that is a good one, Keita. I agree. So my personal opinion, I really feel like the majority of healthcare professionals, I think they'll fall into that category where it won't be AI necessarily replacing them, but it will be people that are using AI to replace them, right? So, for an example, let's say you have a surgeon that doesn't have any background or any information. I'm just speaking about AI in general, not generative AI. Let's say you have a surgeon that doesn't have any experience with AI, and you have a surgeon that does have experience with AI, and they're able to navigate the machines and the whatever the AI or piece of technology is in the operating room, right? Well, they're more likely to hold the position, of the surgeon, like for that hospital, versus the person that does not have any experience, that may be outdated and not have that skill set. So, to me, I that's how I think of it. I really feel healthcare workers will more so be leveraging the AI, not really being replaced by the AI itself. Now, in some cases, it may be, especially for the jobs where you have a lot of, it involves a lot of repetition, right? Let's say someone is doing the same thing every single day, they may be a prime suspect to have AI, replace their position. Like if you're literally doing the same task every day, then your position may be up for, I would say, or obsolete here in a few years. It's very possible, but I think it just varies. It varies, but that's a very good question. All right. Any other questions before I jump into? Yes, yes. Yep, no problem. Any other questions before I jump into generative AI, some live examples here? All right, perfect. I'm not seeing anything else. Okay, all right. So, Chat GPT. So, let me put this link in the chat. So, I think most people here, they've probably at least heard of Chat GPT, even if they don't know exactly what it is or how to use it. But it is free to use. They do have a paid version, but I'm using the free version just so that everyone knows, like literally, there's no barriers here, right? Like anyone can use this tool as long as you have internet connection, right? You have the ability to use most of these tools, right? Most of them offer a free version. Now, not all of them do, but in this case, ChatGPT does. So, what I want to show you first is how I've seen most people kind of interact with ChatGPT, which isn't bad, right? But it just doesn't allow you to optimize the capabilities of ChatGPT. So most people, they'll just come in here and they'll say like, "Hey, can you generate?" Okay, look, here's a few ideas. Can you generate ideas for a fun weekend project? So let's just ask it to do that, right? So you'll see here that it gives you a list here of different things that you can do, right? Depending on your interests, and that it generated that very very quickly. But the problem with this is, well, I wouldn't say the problem, but it's not optimized, right? So you haven't given it any context, you haven't given it like any specific examples, you haven't given it like your interests, your likes and dislikes, so it's not able to tailor the responses and generate a response based on what you really would like to do and your interests. Right, so it's just giving you some general information based on its model or its data set, right? The large language models. So, what I like to do, and I have some examples already that I'll just copy over. One second. Let me copy this. So, what I like to do is I like to be very, very specific. So I'll just read through this. So you are, and this example is for someone who may want to get an idea about a church event, marketing for a church event. So you are a seasoned church marketing strategist with over 40 years of experience helping ministries grow their attendance through effective event campaigns. Speak to a small church with under 150 members. Use a warm and inviting tone. Your goal is to help promote an upcoming community worship night. Avoid sounding too corporate. Use storytelling and community impact language. This is for a Facebook and Instagram promotion. Format your response as a caption and headline. So you can see the difference, right? I'm not just asking it to generate me a church event, right? Or a marketing strategy for a church event. I'm very specific on what I want it to generate, right? And that's really the key. Prompting is everything when it comes to generative AI. The more effective your prompting skills are, the better your responses will be. Like they have literally made careers out of prompting. It's called prompt engineering. People have jobs just to prompt, right? Just to communicate with AI, which is crazy. But yeah. So if I click submit, you can see here that it gives me a nice headline. So join us for a night of worship and community. There's something powerful when we come together as a community, lifting our voices is in unison, celebrating the goodness of God and simply being in His presence. This Friday night, we're opening the doors to a special evening of worship at insert the church name. It's not just another service, it's a chance to gather, be refreshed, and grow deeper in our faith. So I won't read this entire thing, but you can see here, like the response is night and day, right? It's really tailored towards your specific information, which is what we want when it comes to generating, AI. Um, so that is just one example that I wanted to show you guys. So I'm gonna show you another one. So this is around how to make wiser budgeting decisions. So just a general actually let me do this. So let's compare. I'm gonna just ask AI or ChatGPT to generate. I'm gonna say, could you generate a budget plan for me? So you can see again, I'm not this is how most people interact with ChatGPT. They're not being specific about their particular situation. They're just saying, "Hey, generate me some information." So you can see that it gives you. Okay, so it's actually asking. It came back with a question like, "Hey, give me some more information." So we'll just say, "General monthly budget, personal." I'll say it's for personal, and let's just say 5,000 is the monthly budget. Let's see. All right, so you can see it gives a very generic plan, right? I mean, a lot of good information, and you could take this and tailor it to you, but you really want to feed AI with the specific information that you would like to see, right? So here's a much more clear way or effective way to go about prompting AI. So you are a certified financial coach, so giving AI a personality per se, and I'll go through the framework so that you can capture that and like really understand the flow in which you should do things. But in this case, we're giving it a personality. So we're telling AI, hey, you are a personal certified financial coach with over 30 years of experience helping families build financial stability through biblical principles. Speak to a young married couple in their late 20s with a moderate income under 100K. Use a, hold on, let me let them in. Use a friendly and supportive tone. Your goal is to guide them to make smarter budgeting decisions without feeling restricted. Avoid technical jargon. Share one story or analogy that encourages financial peace. Format your advice as a step-by-step list. So you can see that's very specific, right? I'm giving it a personality, right? I'm not just asking it to generate me a budget plan. I'm saying, hey, generate me a plan as if you are a seasoned financial coach, right? You've been coaching many clients and you have, experience and you have receipts to back up what you're generating, right? And I'm giving it a very specific topic. So you can see, I say stay logged out. So you can see here that it begins to tailor the information based on the prompt. So that's why I say the better you can prompt this generative AI, the better your response will be, right? So it says start with a shared vision. So it gives you some more information there, right? So before just diving into the numbers, right? You want to have a heart to heart with your spouse about your dreams and your goals, right? Which is rational. Like what are we aiming for, right? What are you hoping for in the next few years? Do you want to buy a home? Do you want to travel more? Save for a baby? So like what do you have in mind? Right? Because that will help shape the budget, right? That's very important information. And we would expect a financial advisor to ask us that information, right? So it then tells us, hey, you'll be able to track your income and expenses. So now that you're on the same page about your goals, now let's take a good look at where the money is coming from and where it's going. So again, something that you would expect a financial advisor to do. So you can see that it's very, very, very detailed, right? Right. And it gives some final thoughts. So that's why I say it's very, very important to be specific, right? And to prompt AI the correct way. Very important. Very important. It's literally everything. If you put garbage in, you'll get garbage out. But if you give it good, specific information, then you will get a great response in most cases, right? Sometimes you'll still have to tweak it, but the more you feed it good information, the better your response will be. And this is with the free tool, right? So it's not actually like creating an avatar for me. Like when you actually log in and you begin to feed it information, it will learn your behaviors. It will learn who you are, which is crazy to think about, but it will learn you. It will learn you and it will tailor its responses based on who you are. So that's the benefit of having an actual account, and the paid version is just crazy. It's ridiculous, but yeah. So, but if you want to just start off by practicing, the free version is perfect for you to just come in and just start playing around, just start asking questions, and yeah, start generating some responses. All right, so now what I want to do is get into um, a little more complex, I would say, prompting. So one thing that I like to do personally is one, as I mentioned, I like to give it a personality, right? So um, in this case that I'll be going through right now, actually, hold on one second. One question. Okay, yeah. So in this example, what I'll do is I'll be giving it the personality of a professional business coach, right? So I'm going to ask it to ask me a few questions so that it can generate an effective resume. So I love to ask, well, tell GPT to ask me questions, right? So that it can get all of the information that it needs in order to generate a great response. So I'll do that right now. So you can see the prompt is you are a professional business coach who specializes in helping high performers build professional resumes. Speak to a mid level professional in corporate America who wants to move into an executive role. Use a motivating yet clear tone. Your goal is to ask a series of deep, effective questions that uncover resume worthy wins and achievements. Please ask one question at a time. Avoid generic resume tips. Based on the answers provided, please generate an effective resume that is more likely to land me an interview for an executive position. So very, very, very specific, right? That's the theme here. We want to be as specific as possible. So I'll go ahead and generate it. You can see question one is, can you tell me about a major project or initiative you led in your current or past role that directly contributed to the growth or success of the company? What was the outcome and how did you measure success? All right, so I'm just gonna be very, I'm just gonna give it some random information. So I'll just say I led a project that uh, replaced a company's ERP system and was able to save the company, uh, let's just say $5 million a year. And I was, let's see, and I'll say, and also as a result, I was able to uh, help the company reduce headcount by, let's just say 10 people, something like that. All right. So let's see. All right. So you can see it's saying, okay, I got that. Question number two, what was your approach in leading this ERP replacement project specifically? How did you manage cross-functional teams, ensure stakeholder alignment, and overcome any significant challenges during the implementation? So now you can see, like, literally, we're having a conversation at this point, right? Like, it's really asking some good questions, great questions, to be honest. So what was your approach? I would say I was able to use a, let's see, an agile methodology, methodology, um, which allowed us to, um, let's see, implement the project swiftly and under budget. And then I'll say, uh, I dealt I dealt with many conflicts, including senior analysts. Let's see, analyst. Uh, let's say challenging. If I can talk, I'm sorry if I can type right. Challenging my authority. uh, which let's see. I dealt with many conflicts, including senior analysts challenging my authority. We were able to, I'll just say, navigate through the issues effectively, by leveraging one-on-ones or something like that. All right. Okay. So now question three, in terms of your leadership during this project, can you share an example of how you motivated or inspire your team to stay engaged? Specifically when navigating through tough conflicts or challenges, what specific, okay. So I'll just say, um, I was able to, let's say, use, hold on, let me say, I was able to navigate through the challenges by taking a team first approach and, let's say, and keeping the team morale high. So very not a great answer, but just trying to get through the example so that you don't have to watch me type. So now what I'll do is I'll say you should have enough information by now. Say, can you please generate the resume with uh, what you have? All right. So now I'm basically telling it, hey, I don't want you to ask me any more questions, but generate me a resume based on what you have. All right, so you can see here it gives a good template. So executive profile, key strengths and skills, professional experience, right? So you can imagine that if we gave it like even more specific examples, then it would have generated um, even more detailed information here. So education, additional information, resume notes, and customization. So it's giving tips on how you can make it better. And then it's also asking like, how does this feel? Like, is this what you expected, or do you want us to, generate something a little different? So you can see it's very interactive, and it will definitely change the output of what you expect here. So yeah, great way to go about prompting AI. The last example that I'll just show you guys really quick is actually the last two examples. So also what I like to do is when it comes to like generating skill sets, I love to like have AI generate me a learning plan, right, to put me on path to obtaining whatever skill set I'm looking to obtain. So in this case, what I'll do is this is a 30-day apologetics plan, right? Defending faith against Hebrew Israelites. So I've been watching a lot of apologetics lately, Christian apologetics. And yeah, so this was just something random that I thought would be a good example. So in this case, we'll be very specific here. So you are an experienced Christian apologist who has trained believers in defending their faith with clarity and love for over 15 years. Speak to a mature Christian who wants to better engage with Hebrew Israelite coworkers respectfully. Use a thoughtful and bold tone. Your goal is to guide them in building a 30-day preparation plan based on the main objectives from Hebrew Israelites. This will be the launching pad for Hebrew Israelites outreach to bring them into Christianity. Format as a weekly outline. So you can see, like, again, we can literally use AI for like, whatever the Lord has placed on our heart. You're able to leverage the AI technology to deliver results. So you can see here, it literally gives me a week by week plan, right, on how I can prepare to defend the faith against Hebrew Israelites, right? So week one, it gives a breakdown, uh, gives some scriptures, right? Week two, it gives a breakdown, right? Gives some scriptures. Week three, it gives a lot of detailed information, and then week four it gives a lot of detailed information. So you can see literally it's breaking down what we can do every day to build the skill set to defend the faith, right, to properly equip us to go out and defend the faith against Hebrew Israelites, right? You can do the same for Muslims, or whatever other religion you would like to stand toe to toe against. So just, man, this is just something that I love to do, because now I'm able to take this plan and apply it to my own life, right? I'm able to go back and really dig deep on each of the days and know that I'm making progress, based on the plan that's laid out, right? So very, 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 very uh cool way of prompting AI. All right. And the last thing that I'll just show you guys is another example of how you can go about using the tool to create a learning plan. So let's say you're someone who wants to learn a different language, right? That's becoming something that's very important. We have a lot of Spanish speakers in our country, and that may be something that you want to do. So I prepared a prompt for that. So you are a seasoned language acquisition expert who has helped thousands of professionals learn Spanish in 60 days. Speak to a busy adult who wants to learn Spanish for travel and ministry. Use an encouraging and structured tone. Your goal is to ask questions that clarify their goal, then build a 60-day self paced learning plan. Please ask one question at a time. Avoid overloading them with grammar theory format as five onboarding questions, then a 2 month learning plan. I'm sorry, then a 2 month learning roadmap. So you can see again, very, very specific. So it asks me, what is your primary motivation for learning Spanish? I'll say I would like to I'll say I would like to speak to um I'll just say non-believers that speak Spanish so that I can convert them over to Christianity. All right. Okay. Question two, what is your current level? I'll say I am very at the very beginning stages. So I personally took Spanish throughout high school and college, but I'm gonna tell you, I didn't learn much of anything. Like, at least I don't recall the information. I'm not gonna say I didn't learn anything, but let's just say, yeah, I'll leave that alone. But I could use this plan myself, right? I don't know much about Spanish, so I'll just say I do not know any Spanish. All right, given your busy schedule, how much time can you realistically dedicate to Spanish each day? Let's say 30 minutes. Seems feasible. All right. Okay. Do you prefer learning through speaking and listening, like conversation practice, reading and writing, or a combination of both? So I'm going to say a combination of both. All right. Are there any specific phrases or topics related to your ministry or outreach that you would like to focus on, such as sharing your testimony, talking about faith, or explaining specific Bible verses? This will help us prioritize key vocabulary and phrases um, for your conversations. All right. So I'm just going to copy and paste. I'll just say talking about the faith. All right. So now you can see, once again, it's giving me a breakdown of how I can go about learning how to speak a different language. So it gives me the week by week breakdown here. Um, very, very good information here. So again, the more details that you feed the AI prompt, the better the output would be. So if I would have been a little more specific, then it would have given me a lot more information. So that's just another example again of how you can apply this to your life. So I say all that to say prompting is very, 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 very important, right? If you don't take away anything else from the presentation today, please take away that prompting is everything when it comes to generative AI, right? That is key when it comes to generative AI. So definitely make sure you are practicing, right? And I'm going to show you a framework here in a minute on how you can go about becoming better at prompting AI. Because I know we all love acronyms and we all love frameworks, right? At least I do. That's how I like to learn. So I want to give you a framework. So I'm going to share my screen again. And while I'm transitioning, any questions in the chat around any of the information thus far? And maybe let me know in the chat, like, is this how you normally communicate with AI, or have you been communicating and prompting AI on like a basic level? I'm just trying to get the feedback here, see how you guys have been interacting with AI. So I'll wait for that in the chat. I'm gonna reshare my screen as you put answers in the chat. Second, uh, share. All right, basic level, just basic level. Okay, yeah, basic. Okay, okay. All right, cool deal. Okay. 1 second. Show. Strong. Cam, you would say that. Okay. All right. I believe it. I believe it. Now that's one thing about the younger generation for real. Like they definitely use AI a lot. So I do not doubt that you have very strong prompting skills. If y'all know Cam, that's a very Cam like response. All right. So this is, hold on 1 second. Let me make sure. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you're seeing the presentation? I can't tell if you're seeing it or not, or if you're still seeing my main screen. Can you see the character framework? Can someone give me a thumbs up? Okay, perfect. All right, cool. All right. So this is the framework that I created to help me understand how to better prompt AI. So I do see one question in here before I jump into that. So what age do you recommend for, because some teachers won't allow it in school because it's doing the work for the students? Yeah, nah, yeah. That's one of the cons for sure. Now I will say that is a touchy subject, right? Some, I believe some states have even banned chat GPT for like students. So I can't say specifically. Like I would say really all students should know how to use AI, like whether they're supposed to be using it for school per se or not. Like it's something that they will need to understand to be productive in the workforce. So I do believe it's something that they should definitely learn and understand how to use. However, right, we can't use it to a point where it's still showing chat GPT. Okay, hold on 1 second. But we can't use it um to a point where we're lacking like critical thinking skills, right? I think that's one of my biggest issues with like the younger generation. Like they are able to catch on to AI, but they don't necessarily have the critical thinking skills. So Chat GPT isn't replacing critical thinking, right? You're supposed to use this information to like help enhance your life and enhance your productivity, but it's not necessarily replacing like critical thinking skills, right? You still should be able to think through problems and know how to communicate with human beings, right? Like that's one thing that AI is doing I would say a terrible job at, is making people lazy, and the communication skills in general, like across the board, especially for the younger generation, like they just aren't able to have conversations. Like they won't go, let's say, to to, let's say, meetings or to conferences to have face-to-face conversations with people, right? So that's a kind of AI, I would say. But yeah, I recommend all ages learn AI. Like for me and my wife personally, like it's probably something that I would like to start introducing Juliana to, so she can understand basic concepts of prompting, because when she becomes of age, if we're not raptured up out of here, right, it's going to be very prevalent. Like this is going to be like using Microsoft Word, right? Like that's how prevalent it's going to be, and how much of a basic skill it's going to have to be for that generation. So it's definitely a skill set, touchy subject, but yeah, I would say they should definitely learn it as soon as possible. So let me try to share this again. Okay. What about now? Can you guys see my screen now? Okay, perfect. All right, cool. So the character framework. So again, this is something that I let me see. How do I get back to my Okay, hold on 1 second. Are you guys sure it's not showing ChatGPT? On my screen it is. 1 second. Okay. All right, you should be able to see it now. Okay. All right. So the character framework. So I'll go through it really quick. So character it's just an acronym here. You can see usually I like to keep I like to keep the acronym short, but you know, it's a lot of information that you need to consider when prompting AI. So the first letter here, C, choose the role. So I did that many times in the example, right? You know, I told the AI who it was, right? So that's something that you should definitely do because it will help shape the output of the response. H, highlight expertise. So you saw that as well. I gave it like, hey, you're a business coach with 30 years of experience or whatever the case may be, right? That will play a factor in the response that it gives you. So that's very important as well. Align with audience. So for this, you want to basically define the reader or the viewer, right? You want to be specific about that. R is reflect the tone. So you want to, tell or prompt the AI on how the response should be, right? Should it be formal? Do you want it to be very robotic like, corporate like? You know, do you want it to be more casual? Just whatever the case may be, right? So you want to make sure you identify the tone. Add a purpose. So that's the A, add a purpose. So what is the goal of this prompt, right? What are you trying to achieve um, based on the prompt that you're giving the AI chatbot? C, create boundaries. So tell it what not to do, right? So an example here is avoid political references or sensitive topics, etc. Right? So just give it some guidance on what you want to stay away from based on what you're looking for out of the response. Um, let's see. T, tie in storytelling. So ask for real life examples, right? So that's something that I find very beneficial, right? Don't just give me a template. Let me see how, or don't just give me a format. Let me see how this is actually being applied, right? Give me a real life example that I can reference. So that's very important. Establish the setting. So where is this being used, right? Is this being used for YouTube? Is it being used on Facebook? Is it being used on Instagram, right? Because depending on where it's being used, that will also play a very important factor in the response that you receive from AI. So that's very important, right? Establish the setting. And then the last one here, request the result, right? So you want to make sure that you're giving it specific information on the format that you're expecting, right? Are you expecting a bullet point format? Are you expecting it in paragraph format? Do you want a PDF? Do you want a presentation? Whatever the case may be, right? You just want to be specific about the request of the result. And that's the framework in a nutshell. So I'll send this out. Well, actually, if you're a part, everyone here should be a part of the Connect community, and I'll paste these notes. But just as you're beginning to prompt AI, just keep this framework in mind because I'm telling you, if you use this, you will get better results. And the more that you actually practice prompting, the better you'll get, and this will become second nature to you. So like now, like I just automatically consider all of these things, right? Now you don't necessarily need each and every one of these items every specific time, but but it's good to at least consider so that it kind of guides the prompt that you're creating, right? All right. So, how to practice prompting? How to practice prompting? So, you want to start small, right? So again, these tools are free, so you can just go to Chat GPT or Gemini. So I didn't show Gemini for the sake of time, but you can go to Gemini. That's another free tool. But there's so many tools out there that you can use just to get more familiar with how to leverage AI. Experiment, right? So you want to start small, and then you also just want to experiment, right? Get the repetition in. The more reps you get in, the better that you'll become, right? Tweak the tone, format, uh, give it a personality, right? A persona. So yeah, just begin to implement those things, and over time you'll become a much more effective prompter when it comes to AI. And then the last thing here, use frameworks that work for you. So the framework that I use is the one that I created here, character framework for better results. But there's so many other frameworks that you can use. So you can literally just Google like, hey, give me a simple framework for how to prompt AI or how to become better or more effective when it comes to prompting in AI. And you'll see a lot of frameworks out there. But this is my own personal framework. But yeah, so you're welcome to use any of the other ones as well. A lot of free information out there. All right, and again, just some real world use cases for Christians. So this is, I've already touched on this, but you can use generative AI across the board. I believe in almost every area of your life. So whether it's at work, at school. But again, as as my aunt pointed out, some teachers, some schools, some states are banning these tools, which rightfully so. Right, but if your school allows you to at least use AI in some way, then you should leverage that, right? It's a tool, so if you're able to use it and they don't have a problem with you using it, then you should use it. But if they do have a problem with it, then don't, just don't use it. Don't try to do anything that will get you in trouble, right? Definitely not promoting that. In business, so you can become much more efficient in business by using this, and then at church, right? You can use it to do different things within the church as well. So again, you can really use this across the board in every area of your life, right? And just a few things just to leave you with. Uh, so faith and wisdom in the age of AI. So the Bible tells us here in Matthew that we need to be wise as serpents and innocent as doves, right? So, definitely, you can do a lot of damage with AI, right? But on the same token, you can also do a lot of good with AI. So make sure that you're equipping yourselves to be wise when it comes to AI, but make sure you're using it ultimately to, glorify God, right? To build the kingdom, but to also help you become a much more productive worker in whatever setting you're in, right? So just keep those things in mind. Um, so yeah, don't get left behind. As I mentioned before, definitely don't get left behind. That's not a position you want to be in, right? Because AI skills are becoming essential, right? It's just a fact, right? This is something that we can't stop, right? Unless the Lord comes back. All right, and we get raptured out of here, which will be great. but but while we're here, it's important that we equip ourselves when it comes to AI, right? There's a strategic advantage for using AI, right? So we want to learn to master it and stay competitive in the marketplace. We want to lead in innovation, right? So Christians should be pioneers and we shouldn't just be laggers. We shouldn't lag behind when it comes to embracing technology, right? Let's be leaders in the innovation. And then the last thing here is just, God is doing the new thing, right? Right. That's what it says in Isaiah, right? Remember not the former things, nor consider the old things. Behold, I am doing a new thing, right? So, let's not just always try to lean on what the things we've done in the past, because that can get us into a lot of trouble when it comes to these tools, right? Again, you will get left behind if you don't learn to leverage these tools. So it's important that we lean in and embrace them and learn to use them effectively. All right. And the call to action. The call to action is for each of you to start using AI tools if you already don't, right? If you don't currently use AI, I strongly encourage you to start using AI because again, it will make you a much more productive and efficient person overall. It just will. But the important thing is for you to practice, right? Practice, 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 practice. Just like anything in life, you have to apply yourself and you have to just perform reps, right? The more reps we put in, the better we get at something. It's just like exercising, right? Just anything in life. The more time, the more reps we get in, the better we'll become over time. So definitely make sure you are putting in the work and ultimately at the end of the day for sure make sure you are using tech to glorify God, right? Don't use this in a negative way, because again it can be a dangerous tool, but just make sure you're using it very responsibly and efficiently, right? So with that being said, that's all I have today. I had a lot more information, but I cut it down because I didn't want to give you information. I didn't want to have information overload. So I'll for sure be having additional sessions when it comes to AI because there's a lot to cover. So I'll be going into more detail over time. But with that being said, I'm going to open it up for any questions that you may have. I pray that you have enjoyed this presentation. Again, this was a very basic entry level presentation for generative AI. But I pray that you were able to get something out of it. Um, Even for those that are already using AI, I pray that you are able to gain something from this. And I encourage you all to just, use AI and just begin to practice because the more you practice, the better you'll be at it and the more comfortable you will become with using technology. All right. Any questions? Oh, thank you to my lovely wife. Appreciate it. Thank you, mama. Shout out to my wife and my mom. Any questions? Put them in the chat or raise your hand. Okay, this is good. I'm requesting one of these sessions for teenagers. How they can use it safely. I don't think they see the dangers in it. Yeah, that's actually yeah, no, that's a great idea. I agree. Um, I'm gonna actually copy that and put it over here in my notes. But yeah, I agree. I think that is something that we definitely need to do, because our teenagers, our kids in general, they are being exposed to AI at just a huge rate, right? A great rate. So we want to make sure that we're equipping them on how to use it, but also, like you said, Keita, equipping them to use it safely and also pointing out like where the downfalls are and what they should be on the lookout for. Because as I mentioned at the beginning, there's a lot of scams out here. Like it's so easy to get scammed out of money, out of your social security number, any other sensitive information. It's very easy to fall victim to these scams because of these complex, methods that they're using now. So, and teenagers and even younger, right? They're more gullible in most cases to fall for some of these tricks. So we want to protect our youth for sure. Cam, could AI ever be a friend or teammate? Oh, Cam, you trolling me, oh man, or is that a real question? I don't know if you trolling me. But I will assume that you're asking for real. So can it's a real question. Okay, all right, bet. So I would say I would not recommend AI to be a friend. Yeah, definitely don't I don't recommend that. But you can use it as a tool, right? Maybe if you um you can use it to maybe help you generate some questions that you would like to ask your friends, right? If you want to learn more information about your friends, you could leverage it that way. But as far as actually having it be a friend, I don't recommend that. And you say, is it a teammate? Yeah, yeah, I don't recommend that. But use it to help you establish friendships and enhance friendships, I would say. That's an interesting question. All right, Misty said, thank you for sharing. I gained more insight. Perfect. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Lady Misty. Appreciate that. Glad you enjoyed. Let me see. iPhone 2. Who is iPhone 2? Can you put your name in the chat? They said, thank you. Very good information, and I am willing to learn. No, that's perfect, man. That's perfect. Yeah, put your name in the chat. Who I would like to know who that is. Oh, Minister Beverly. Okay, Mama B. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's very important. Absolutely. You are in the right place. Yeah, just I placed the Chat GPT link in the chat. So just use that link to, get access to the free tool, and you'll be able to, practice and get better. Just play around with it. All right. What are some other free options besides Chat GPT? All right, great question, sis. So as I mentioned, I can share my screen again really quick. 1 second. Chrome share. All right, so Gemini is another good one. So this is Google's, I could say, version of Chat GPT, right? Per se, this is their AI assistant, their chatbot. So you can use Gemini. Another tool which is really really good is Claude. I can't remember if Claude is free or not. I believe it is, but you have to make an account if I'm not mistaken. But Claude is a very good tool. Like I recommend Claude. It's a very very cool and efficient tool. And yeah, there's a lot others. I can what I'll do is I'll compile a list of different AI tools that people can leverage for different reasons. So, for an example, there's an AI tool out here called Opus. I think it's Opus Clips. Yeah, Opus Clip. So what this allows you to do is for content creators, instead of going into your videos and looking for specific like viral clips or reels, right? It allows the AI to generate like different viral clips for you, right? So it'll give you the actual reel, the video reel, and it will give you the content, so the description of the post, the title of the post, and keywords that you should use in the post. So it's a very cool tool. I've used it a few times. So this is another one that I recommend. But this isn't. I don't think this one is. Oh well, yeah. You can use it to get some free clips, but I think it only gives you like a few minutes of free videos that you can use. But this is another cool tool. So, man, I'm telling you, like there's so many tools out here that's being used across the board for many different things. Many people probably didn't know. So if you go to my Bible app, so I'll paste the link here in the chat. If you go to the Bible app, I actually have a Bible chat bot inside of the Bible app. Right now, it is full disclaimer. It is a paid tool, right? Because it costs money to generate this information right on the back end. So it is a paid tool, but you do get 3 days free. So if you just want to go in and try it out and cancel the subscription, you can do that. So you can go in and just check it out. But essentially, um my chat bot is just based on the Bible, right? So that is my large language model. It's literally the Bible. So if you ask a question that's not pertaining to the Bible, then it won't give you any information, right? It'll just say, hey, like I'm not, I wasn't created for that or something like that. But yeah, I do have a chat bot in the Bible. So if you have a basic or even an advanced question about the Bible, you could go to our Bible app and check out the Bible chat bot. Yep, so definitely check that out. All right, can AI make music, art, or stories? Yes, Cameron. That's I feel like a leading question, but that's a very good point though. It can make music, it can make art. So one thing that I'll just quickly show the group here is it can also generate images, right? So let's say you're into content creation and you need some images, you can ask it. I'll say, I'm not sure if the free version does though. I'll say, can you create me a logo with a lion and the letters JQS in it? Let's just see what it does. Okay, yeah. See, I need to be logged in. Let me see if Gemini, but it does create images, but you have to have a profile for ChatGPT. Let me see if Gemini allows me to. Uh, I'm still working on my image skills. Okay, yeah. So I want actually hold on one second. Just for the purpose of the demo, I can go to my account and just show you guys quickly. Um, But while I'm pulling that up, let me make sure there aren't any other questions. There's so much AI can do for us. I see more of your training coming in the future. For sure. Yep, yep, most definitely, Lady Misty. For sure. For sure. Does it give unlimited free responses? No. I'm not sure, Jayla. Are you talking about ChatGPT or Opus Clip? But ChatGPT, it doesn't have unlimited responses. I think it caps out at a certain point, but like eventually you'll be able to you'll be able to refresh it and ask it additional questions. I think it gives you like a specific time that you have to wait. um yeah, so if you're talking about Chat GPT, then that's the cap on that. Awesome. uh has a Rufus to help. Amazon has a Rufus to help you shop. Even when you ask Siri something, she always asks, "Do you want me to use ChatGPT?" So it's all good to know about. Yep, 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 for sure. And they have so Apple is in the process of rolling out more Apple intelligence features. So Siri is going to become a lot more uh tightly integrated with ChatGPT. So it's very integrated right now. You're right. Like it does ask that, but it's going to become a lot more tightly integrated, and Siri is going to be on another level. I'm super excited for those features to be rolled out. But yeah, a lot of activity happening in the world of AI. Okay, let me make sure I haven't missed the. All right, so let me just show you guys this. Hold on one second. Chat GPT. One second. Okay. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to reshare. I'm just going to paste it here. Okay. Mm-hmm. Uh, mhm. I'll just say your choice. All right, so it's going to create me an image. So you'll be able to see the image creation process. Let's see what it comes up with. All right, so you can see this is a very basic logo or image, but it does have that ability, and you can come in here and you can, edit it. Right, you can ask it to cut out certain things, etc. So, yeah, man, it's a lot that you can do in Chat GPT and AI in general. So, lot of different things. Okay, all right. Any other questions? I know we are right at 8:30. Want to be respectful of your time. I feel like I've been talking forever. But I hope you've enjoyed. Any other questions or anything that you guys would like to see more of the next time? Any suggestions or any other comments? Okay. All right. I'm not seeing anything else. Very interesting. I enjoyed this, Papa. I appreciate that, Papa. You will for sure, Papa, in your spare time, just sit down and play around with it, man. It's a very a lot of neat features out here. And I know you would find it beneficial for sure. So highly recommend for sure. All right. I'm not seeing anything else. I'll give it 15 more seconds. If I don't see any more comments or any raised hands, then I'm gonna wrap it up. So the clock is on. Any other questions? Any other comments before we drop? So would phishing be a part of your security? Yeah, so I would definitely touch on phishing um in the security presentation. So that's a type of technique, hacking technique, just in case people don't know. So that would be something that I will touch on. Good question, Ma. Yes, phishing, and I'll touch on a lot of other different things, a lot more complex methods that they're using nowadays. I know a lot of people saw, like even in Gastonia recently, with the whole card reader scam, or I guess you would call it the, well, yeah, technically it's a scam, that they implemented at the Walmart in Gastonia. All right. So just a lot of things that we need to be on the lookout for, because it is yeah, man, it's getting crazy out here. You have to be very careful. Yep, West End Walmart. Yeah, 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 yep. So you have to be careful, man. You never know. And like if you're not looking for these things, if you're not aware, then you won't know and you can easily become a victim. So very important to be on the lookout for. That's why me personally, um I never pay for gas at the pump, right? I always go in. It's just little stuff like that that we need to be mindful of, right? So just a little tip. Please go in and pay for your gas. It'll be a few more minutes, but it's okay because you'll be safe and you won't have to worry about somebody in Africa or wherever stealing your information, right? So just be mindful. All right, guys. I'm not saying anything else, but I appreciate everyone for hopping on. Really appreciate the support. I will uh, post the recording in the chat. I still haven't posted the last recording, so I'll do that as well by tomorrow for sure. And I'll post the notes along with some AI tools that I recommend. But again, I highly encourage you all to just play around with ChatGPT and Gemini just to get familiar with prompting. And then, if you have any specific questions, feel free to reach out to me at any point in time. But love you all. Pray you all have a blessed night. And I will talk to you all later. Love you guys. Bye bye. Yep, no problem. Appreciate it. The Alexanders. Love you guys. Always appreciate the support. All right. Love you all. Have a good night. See ya.